There you go. So every answer is, you need to get 100% for every answer, right? 100 points, let's say. Now that only 20 points is given for whenever you answer correctly, you're actually only getting 20% out of 100.
That sucks.
Energy, communication skills, how clear can I understand you, how well you are keeping me engaged in the conversation, right? Because don't be surprised, guys, like even at companies like Apple, I had an interviewer who's basically sitting on his phone. So it's totally fine. People can get bored easily. So you want to make sure they don't get bored, and you keep them engaged. And if they are even getting bored, you need to, have some questions. So like you have to re-engage them, right? You always need to make sure they are engaged and following what you're saying. And experience and an expertise in matter. And how memorable are you? How interesting are you? Storytelling, jokes, and stuff. So I would say energy was there, like, but maybe 10%, not 20%. The answer was definitely correct. So 20%. And experience, you kind of told me that you know this, but you gave me, you gave me an answer from the book, right? So that's why you got the 20%. What's the difference between knowledge and experience, guys? What's the difference between knowledge and experience, Anastasia?
What is the difference? Well, the knowledge, you just know what it is, but when you actually have real experience, it's better.
It's better,
You
right?
you basically experienced it.
Yep.
So you know
Oh,
what to do, and you know.
yep. So for every question, you guys need to build your answers where you also tie it up with the experience. For example, hey, requirement analysis. So in my general software testing lifecycle starts from requirement analysis. Uh, for example, we have a PM or BA or lead, whoever creates the tasks, right? But you need to tell who creates the task here. This is a great chance. Hey, we have Andrew who creates the tasks. Like BA creates the tasks, and usually, BAs basically all they do is create tasks, and every day they have to create a lot of tasks. And they're also human, and they create tasks based on how much knowledge they have, how tired are they, how tight are the deadlines, right? So there are millions of different reasons for the requirements to be not perfect and not clear. So, and also just like having a third person to look at the requirements is pretty good idea, because just every person looks at the same thing from so many different perspectives. So I always try to bring in my perspective into the requirement analysis to make sure it meets the SMART criteria, because I'm always evaluating the requirements from whether they are specific enough. I want to make sure, like, if there are some ambiguities, like, one time I had a requirement which said, allow sending money. I didn't really mention, should it be allowed to everybody? Should we allow to specific accounts? Should we allow to, what should be the limit? So it should be measurable, right? Like bottom limit and upper limit. What's the minimum required daily, daily limits? So there are lots of different things you have to ask and make sure at this stage, because why? Why is this requirement analysis even matter at the end of the day?
Well, we have to make sure, that whatever we're creating, it's supposed to follow documentation, and it's supposed to work as expected.
And if it doesn't, what happens?
Well, then we are gonna have unhappy clients.
Okay. Yeah, Palimbek?
To make sure that the requirements are clear enough, because sometimes the clients themselves may not have enough data to provide to validate the results.
Yeah, yeah. Like, eventually you might get unhappy. I mean, you might get a bug in production, which is a disaster, depending on if you are especially working at a digital bank, because that actually can first of all mean uh misused money, right? So we could actually lose money. And then we could also have unhappy customers and damaged brand reputation. But that's the like worst case. Yes, like that's the bigger goal, but I can accomplish that goal with so many different ways. I can hire 100 QAs and accomplish that goal, right? Another goal is like I want to accomplish that while at the most cost efficient manner as possible. As a QA guys, your North Star metric, your compass is that I always want to find bugs as soon as possible in the process because that is the most cost efficient. The more, the further it goes in the in the process, the more expensive that bug becomes. So the earliest you can find bugs is just by reading requirements and finding some either ambiguities or some mistakes in the formulas. Like there, you could actually be finding mistakes in the formulas just by reading the requirements. Let's say if you are working at a bank which has some cashbacks, and then it said it can give 3% cashback for Uber and then 1% for groceries, and then you see that Uber was only returning 1%, right? Or let's say the groceries were returning 3% in the formula. Sorry, in the requirements. Yeah. So now like you did connect your experience a lot with this thing, right? Not just tell me like, hey, this is what you need to do. Add a lot of stories here. You guys can watch the recordings later and write it down. So that's just on the requirement analysis. This is like you are highlighting requirement analysis so much and you are telling why it's even matter because people create requirements, people have tight deadlines, people have bad moods, people have, you know, uh, maybe they even lack enough expertise in this industry. So Elon Musk himself, you can use this quote, guys. Elon Musk himself said, like, I follow Elon. I really like Elon Musk's quote where he says, like, treat requirements as if the stupid person created it. And that's what I do. Always question requirements. The biggest, guys, that's actually the reality. One of the biggest problems in the company culture when people don't question the work that comes to their plate. Because a lot of times people end up spending time building stuff that shouldn't be built even in the first place. So you can even edit that. Like sometimes I really question the requirements and start asking, why do we need this? Don't we already have other features that kind of can support this already? Okay. Then test planning. Now in the test planning, for example, what you can do is you can engage the person, like ask a question. For example, yeah, you already told a long story with requirement analysis, and then I would ask, because like test planning is test strategy and figure out the tools and automation criteria, right? Now these things you don't do it for every single feature. You do this on like you don't do it for all the time. Like test planning doesn't happen all the time. It happens once for big feature. So what you can say is, hey, you know, should I touch on test planning? Because we have test planning meetings, test planning in general, you know, once for one big epic or once for one big feature. But once we have it, we just, you know, are usually spending our time developing the test cases. So on the test cases stage, developing test cases. And then like you're asking them a question, hey, should I talk about test planning or should I just kind of move on to the next one? Kind of giving your interviewers control over the control over the speed, right? Or like how much time do I really have for this question? You're also kind of giving them a control over the depths that you want to go into. I think like that's how you can think about these questions. Hey, what type of questions can I ask? Let me ask like whether I should go touch upon this one or whether I should skip it. That I think that's a good question in general. But make sure you don't just ask, hey, should I talk about test planning or should I just skip it? But make it like more smoother. Hey, should I touch upon test planning? Because we do test planning meetings only once per big feature. And usually if we are working on the same feature already that we already had test planning for, then we are spending time on test case development. Cool. On test case development, test case development is also a big thing here. In test case development, I want to hear about different testing types, right? Like boundary testing, positive, negative. What other testing types do we have? Everyone can participate here. What kind of test cases can you write? Positive, negative. What else? Pairwise testing. What is pairwise testing? Pairwise testing. This is first time I'm hearing pairwise testing. This two numbers. Okay. Integration testing. Integration testing is not a like there are different testing types, right, guys? This is what I hate. That you know, there as if there is lack of words. They call like there are two different testing types in general. Testing types. I would say there are test case types. That's one test. And then testing types, yeah. So test case types are like positive, negative, boundary. This one was pairwise was definitely a test case type. Pairwise. And then there are testing types like smoke, regression, integration, you know, UAT, beta. These are like testing types.
Ad hoc, monkey exploratory testing.
Ad hoc is like, I would say it's a test case type. Even though you don't write a test case for it, but like you are kind of, you can perform, basically you can perform these tests in each of these test types. Because you can do ad hoc in beta, you can do ad hoc in integration, you can do ad hoc in regression, and you can do ad hoc in smoke. You can have positive and negative test cases in smoke, regression, integration, all of them. And same thing for boundary and pairwise. What other testing types do you guys know?
Unit testing.
Unit testing is also a testing type here. Not what type of test case type?
Sanity. Oh, okay.
List all of the functional test case types. Yeah, I mean, because everyone talks it, obviously, ChatGPT is gonna tell us everything that usability, accessibility, security, performance, database, bound,
Load testing.
error handling. So error handling, I like this one. Error handling. I like input validation. Business rule test cases. Localization, internalization test cases if you have workflow validated entire workflow process. Okay. API. What kind of? So yeah, positive, negative, boundary, pairwise, ad hoc, error handling, input validation, state transition. I like this one. Calculation validation, data validation, conditional logic, rule-based workflows, eligibility criteria, like authorization and access control test cases, compliance. This is more security, business process validation, notification, exception handling, notification rules test cases, thresholds and limits. So that's like boundary, right? Data integrity, aggregation rules, and so on. I think this is more than enough. So like whenever in test cases, guys, this is probably the only thing really I want to hear from you. In the test cases, I write test cases to cover, to ensure we have like, why do we have test cases, guys, in general? Why do we need test cases?
To cover all parts of the application.
Sure.
Make sure the
find-
app runs as expected,
To make
as
sure.
per the requirements. To make sure it does what's supposed to do as per the requirements, behaves expectedly.
Sure.
I would say identify test scenarios and document the steps, expected results, and preconditions.
Why?
Then to know what to do next.
No.
Okay.
I mean,
Well, it should be
yeah.
clear on what to do, clear on the specific test data, what do we need to pass into execute this test case, basically minimize creativity, work for other QAs so that we can just copy and paste, and execute and then validate.
You got it. To make sure, like, you should be doing the creative work only once, guys. That's the rule in software engineering in general. Like minimize the funny it sounds, but it is true. The whole software development process or operations or the culture is that you want to make sure, you want to minimize the amount of times the creative work has to be done. Why? Because creative means unpredictable, right? So with the test cases, your whole goal is to sit once, focus only on getting creative in coming up with so many different test cases, so that you have written down all the test cases. Because for the one feature, right, you're only focusing on this feature, you want to do your best to cover as much test cases as possible, edge cases and stuff, so that, because regression, we come up with we do test cases so that we are building up our regression. And regression means we time to time, once in a month at least, you have to execute all of the test cases you have ever come up. So now whenever I'm executing my regression, I'm not gonna question whether I have enough test cases. I'm gonna trust that we have enough test cases, and all I do is just execute. There is no creative work, just execute, 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 compare actual result to expected, pass or fail, do it to the next test case, and so on. So that's what you wanna touch upon too whenever you're talking about test cases. Hey, test cases, then like my next step is developing test cases. And this is a very important step because, we have regression tests that we run once before every release, and our releases are once in 1 month or once in 6 weeks. And this is the time when you have to turn on your full creativity so that people who are executing regression tests don't have to worry about whether we have enough test case coverage here, code coverage. And now what I generally do is I have, usually I have a nice document where I have all of the different test cases I should be covering, and then it's a positive cases, negative cases, boundary, error handling, input validation, state transition, data validation, eligibility criteria, authorization and access control test cases, notification rule test cases, threshold and limit test cases, and so on. So I look at every single of these test case types and then, try to come up with test cases based on this test case type. Yeah, this is one thing you do. Okay, now I will give you guys another thing you can do on the test case type. My goal in the test case stage is to do my best to cover every cases, like all the edge cases too. And I don't trust just myself that I can accomplish all that. What I do is my test case software development lifecycle, whenever I'm developing the test cases, and this is something I do personally, is I spend my 1 day or whatever amount of time it's required, and I try to put everything I know, all of my expertise and knowledge in the business and in the test case development. But I still do collaboration with our developers or our subject matter experts. What I do is whenever we have big new features, I come up with all the test cases I can come up with, and I schedule a call with our subject matter experts for 1 hour. And I present all of the different test cases that I have, and I ask whether they see anything that I missed. And usually I get some amazingly edge case scenario ideas from our subject matter experts, developers, and the business analysts. Then I take those and I add them into the test cases. So this is another thing I do to ensure I have done my best. We have basically covered the most with this test cases. Cool. How does it sound?
It sounds really good.
Yep.
Perfect.
So for test case dev, my goal is to ensure I develop and cover all of the edge cases I develop myself, then set up a meeting with SMEs, devs, and BA to where I present my test cases and ask them whether they see anything I missed, and they give me usually come up with crazy edge cases that I didn't see. Cool. So I add them into test cases. So like with this type of things here, what am I selling guys here with this story? What is the meta message here? With this story, yep, go ahead, Anastasia.
Well, you're selling yourself that you know what you're doing. You know the process.
You are creative. You
Mhm.
like
I think you're just thinking outside of the box here, and you don't need somebody to keep telling you what to do. You can just do it yourself.
Yep, love it. Yep, definitely thinking outside of the box. Like you have one goal, guys, right? The most important is to have these like compass things, North Star metrics for every process. So for example, requirement analysis, your compass was to make sure your compass was that people make mistakes, and requirement analysis is the earliest place I can catch bugs. So I'm gonna be very careful, read it, calculate, even like manually take a calculator and calculate whenever there are formulas and stuff, right? For test case development, your North Star metric is to cover as many edge cases as possible. Now, what can I do to do it? And you're also being honest that I might be missing something. So how about I collaborate with others? So you are telling you think outside of the box, plus you are selling that you are a team player here. You involve others, and you're also involved with others. You're not just solo guy who like is always quiet. You are brave to take leadership and make initiatives. This is a huge initiative. Okay, so these are the real things that they are buying. That's it. Like whatever the story you told, oh, it's cool, but you only, remember the 7%, right? This only gave you 7%, but the real thing they are buying is all of the meta message things here: team player, take initiative, and all that stuff. Cool. And then like test environment setup, you can follow the same thing. What is important for test environment setup? Like for test environment setup depends. I want to have an instance of the app with separate DB that nobody but me has messes with or has access to. Yeah, has access to. So I can populate test data in the DB when I have to. I can, do end-to-end testing and control and monitor every stage of the process. Right? I want to have full access to deploying new versions whenever I want. I usually I have worked with Linux and Docker environment, right? And I want to have full access to do app troubleshooting. To do troubleshooting by reading logs, yeah, logs and configuration files, configuration files. This is a test environment setup. What are the most important things for you in the test environment setup is you want to have an instance of the app which you have access to, which you know which database the app is connecting to, and you have access to the database. You know and control everything that goes in and goes out of the database. And yeah, you control the full deployment. You know whenever you have to deploy, redeploy stuff. And you want to have access to logs and configuration files too, so you can change the configurations whenever you have to, and logs too. Read logs whenever there are issues, which you see a lot. Then test execution. Then you basically execute the test cases. That part was good. Cool.
Thank you. Thank you, Oscar, for the explanation.
Yep. Yeah. Storytelling is so important, guys. I think like your biggest insight of this session is this. Correct answer is only 20%. Always ask me, like, if you guys have any questions or difficulties building stories, ask me, hey, Oscar, can you please help me build a story for this one? But ask me something small. Don't ask me like, build me a story for STLC. Take it step by step and I can help you. First, write down your version and I will give you feedback there. Yeah, but storytelling goes a long, long way. I think like for every topic, the questions for every topic, ask these questions. Ask these questions from yourself first. Guys, self-talk. I don't know what is it called. Self-talk. Whenever you're talking to each other, I think nothing beats that. That's when you become crazy. So you're gonna ask yourself any topic. Give me any topic. Anastasia.
CI/CD process.
CI/CD. Okay, CI/CD. You're gonna ask yourself, what is the North Star here? So like compass. North Star means like, what is my like biggest goal with CI/CD? Why am I doing this in general, right? Why do you need it? One, what can I do to contribute to it? Cool. Yeah. Okay, I think that's fine. So CI/CD, what is CI/CD? What's CI/CD?
Continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous deployment.
Okay. So like whenever there is a question, guys, what is this? What is that type of question? I don't really want to hear what it is, but I think like what really you want to, whenever there is a question like what is question, think about that question is, what is the purpose of this tool? Or like, not even purpose, what I want to accomplish with this tool. Okay, because when you said continuous integration, continuous delivery, that gave me zero. That gave you 0 points. Okay, Alimbek. What's CIC?
Essentially, it's a way to run regression testing. So essentially, let's say we have a scheduled interval that is configured in Jenkins file, or we also configured it so it will run whenever the commit is being done to the, let's say, the in the GitHub. In that case, it will run regression testing and send the report results to the entire team.
No. Regression testing, guys, automated tests are only maybe 10 or not even 10, I would say like 5 or 5% of CI/CD. A lot of CI/CDs don't even have automated tests included in it, because automated tests are kind of unpredictable. What is CI/CD, Anastasia? Hold on. Miguel, what's CI/CD? Time to shine. Miguel?
I actually haven't been working with CI/CD. I'm not sure.
Did you finish the CI/CD part of the course?
I did. I just haven't been looking through that part just yet. Again, I'm going over Selenium again.
Okay. Azamat, what is CI/CD?
Hey, good morning, everyone. I haven't reached that part yet. I'm on week 16, so covering Selenium still.
Okay. Cool.
Can I say it's like basically like STLC process, or no? It's like process that yeah, it's basically the process that helps the team catch problems as early as possible in the process.
No.
Work together, work better.
Nope.
No.
So CI/CD is a part of like development operations, DevOps. Now, DevOps.
But it's automated, right?
North Star
It's
DevOps is to automate all of the repetitive tasks, repetitive routine development actions. So what do I mean by that? For example, developers, this is like, first of all, they focus on like North Star of DevOps is to automate. No, that's not North Star. You don't want to automate. The North Star of the DevOps is to make developers faster by automating. To help developers ship new features faster by automating all of the repetitive. You know, like who doesn't want, like business people, right? All developers are in the business, so business people always want stuff to be done fast. They're all in huge. I would love to be able to ship stuff so fast. Nothing makes me happier than whenever like developers are shipping stuff very fast. Nothing makes me more pissed than when developers are shipping stuff can't ship stuff for, you know, months. It drives me crazy. Okay. So now you bring in the DevOps engineers, and that's like their North Star. Now, and then like, as every engineer has a North Star, and DevOps North Star is to ship, help developers ship stuff fast. And like, historically, developers had performed like the same things over and over. For example, read requirements, dev process. Yeah, this is like dev process, developers process is read requirements, write code, test, then test locally, then push, create PR, right? Create PR, merge, get approval, merge the code, build the image, Docker image, notify QAs, then deploy to test environment, run tests, deploy to integration, run tests, deploy to staging, run tests, release. Right? And each of these steps, guys, these ones have to happen all the time. And each of these steps require like multiple steps. For example, merge the code, then build a Docker image. This one requires, you know, multiple commands. The notifying QAs requires multiple commands, right? You have to go to the Slack, find the person, write them. Like, you also shouldn't forget, first of all, right? Then deploy the test is also first logging into the test environment, using SSH, then running the Docker commands to pull it and deploy. So like, you know, this one, if you do it manually, this one could take 10 minutes. There are configurations involved, all of that stuff. So 10 minutes easily. This one, I would say probably another 10 minutes. This one, you shouldn't forget. This one takes like, let's say 2-3 minutes, but also you shouldn't forget about it. The biggest problem is like you forget all the time, and so on. So if you do all of this stuff like manually, it takes let's say 2 hours. And if you are doing this like few times a day, like you're just wasting a couple hours every day. So DevOps engineers come in and basically automate this whole process, and that's called CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment. Okay, and you, as I said, test is just 10% of it. So as you can see, test is just 10%, 5% of everything. All you do is like you help them set up a Jenkins job to run tests automatically, and they will take the job and include it in the entire CI/CD. Okay, now this get approval part is also now with AI, great things are coming up. Why I say North Star is so important, guys. North Star, you think about help developers ship code faster. Now, what is then like the DevOps engineers, all they have to do is just start analyzing where developers spend the most time. I would say the most time is spent between here and here, right? Writing the code. So now, you know, As a DevOps engineer, your job is to make sure you are staying up to date with all the AI trends and that, basically help you write code. Then, there is a approval part. Usually, people have been reviewing the code, right? And then depending on the quality of your team, here, this is also like QA part. You need to make sure you are collaborating with DevOps engineers to ensure like there is in GitHub, you can set a branch rule, make sure at least 2 approvals are given before the merge is even allowed. Why is that? Because just like reading the requirements, just good engineers can read the code and tell you what's wrong. They can identify performance bad code that will lead to bad performance, that will lead to so many different problems. Like, for example, right now I read the code whenever the developers are done, and I send them back, hey, I don't like it, I don't like this part, you are missing this and that. I give a lot of comments. And I think like nothing better than PR, the pull request, code review. So right now, I'm looking for an AI which can review the code and say, hey, like give the suggestions. Because this takes a lot of my time. I know I have to do it, but I hate doing it because, first of all, it has to be done right now. If I'm not doing it right now, I'm blocking the developers. So it's basically 2 things fighting at the same time. I have my stuff going on. I have to review it. If I don't review it, developers are being blocked. Make sense? This is CI/CD. Highly recommend to revisit CI/CD, guys. Just from open resources. Ask ChatGPT on like, hey, what are the most important things on CI/CD? Dive deeper into each section here. The new trend is, guys, like for people who are in the job market, like you completed the course. I understand like you want to retain what you know, but the best way to retain what you know is to keep learning new stuff. I don't see a point in like just revisiting the same thing all the time. Yeah, I would say if you are contributing or committing 2 hours every day whenever you're in the job market, spend 1 hour on recap, 1 hour on learning new things. Like you should be always asking, what can I learn new? And my suggestion is learn everything DevOps. The best QA automation engineer is the QA automation with strong DevOps skills. Like if you can get to a part where you are SDET/DevOps, then you are winning. Same thing for DevOps engineers, right? DevOps engineers with strong QA skills is the best DevOps, because like there are lots of relationship, or there are lots of things that cross paths right here. Like we just talked about one thing about CI/CD, one topic of DevOps, and as you can see, test is a huge thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And QA mindset, QA foundational skills like this STLC, test case type, code coverage, test coverage, that mindset in general is a huge thing. The biggest value you bring to the company is just having this like QA mindset before like even having all the tooling knowledge. Like long term, your biggest value to the company will become once like you will be very strong with all the tools, the biggest value still be your QA mindset, because nobody in the team has it. Nobody in the team will be thinking about all the test case types, right? And you do. Cool.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
I have a question. So, I have a technical interview next week on Thursday, and they mentioned it's going to be UI automation and back-end testing.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have like any tips? Like, what should I recap on?
UI.
Like basically to prepare myself.
Yeah, I think like UI automation and backend automation, create a framework from scratch for some project, doing like both UI and backend, API and database, and UI and database, and some Linux and Docker. So I told you the whole course basically. Yeah, like
They mentioned it's gonna take only 1 hour.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly gonna be tell me about your project, tell me about your automation experience, tell me about your backend experience, and then after you tell, then they're gonna start asking, hey, what is status codes? What is, it could be scenario based, like, let's say I have 500 UI automation test cases. It's taking, I don't know, 3 hours. What can you do to make it faster? Type of questions, right? I have 500 test cases. How do I know if it's enough or not enough? They will definitely ask questions like, what is tail element exception, like specific, what is questions, right?
okay.
Yeah. Take notes. Make sure you are in a room where, I know, when I did interviews after I graduated from bootcamp, all of my laptop was in sticky notes on the topics. We had a room where one room was like, the one wall was full A4 papers with all the notes, all the topics in the world.
Wow.
You could kind of see it, So do that type of hack. Have all of the notes because you know all this. Sometimes having the notes handy is very helpful.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, even you can have the notes very well organized on your laptop, like mine. I mean, this is not the best organization, but like some good organization, and so you can like quickly find. You can do a spreadsheet, or you can do tabs. Like, I don't know, this tab would be Java, this tab would be Selenium, this would be database, this would be API, this would be soft skills, this would be, let's say, DevOps stuff, Docker, Linux, CI/CD. So like, whenever the question is asked, you can quickly switch. This is gonna work if they don't ask you to share a screen. For automation, unless they will ask you a coding question, I don't think it will be a share screen environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's from one perspective, it's kind of like very hard to predict what they're gonna ask, but also like you kind of know what they're gonna ask, right? It's gonna be a bit of Java, bit of Cucumber, bit of Maven, bit of Selenium, and bit of everything really. So
Okay.
you'll have enough time to go over all the notes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. Good luck. Good luck on your next interview. Yeah, I have a good feeling you're gonna do this. So it was a really good timing for you. You were there, like I liked all of your answers. Now we gave you a little bit of sprinkles. So that's
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your feedback.
forward to it. Thanks for joining the session. All right. Thanks guys for joining. Keep it up. Keep up the good work. Hard work pays off. As I said, there has never been a problem getting interviews, guys. You will get interviews, but right now it's not the time where you're gonna get like 100 interviews or 50 interviews, right? So you will definitely get 5 interviews. So you should be very, very sharp to get few offers after those interviews. Is it possible? It's definitely possible. As long as you demand from each other, from yourself, first of all, right? And be proactive, question yourself, get validations. The biggest asset you guys have here is like your mentors, your classmates, myself, Adina, and don't assume. This is just like requirements, right, guys? Don't assume that you are ready. Get like a real feedback. You know, your mind telling you that you are ready doesn't equal to you are actually ready. It's not actual. It's like expected. The actual ready would be like when you join this type of sessions, or you ask in the Slack, you send your video recordings of the interview questions. Somehow you find a way to share your readiness, right? And then we give you feedback. We tell you, hey, I love this. You want to get like, I love this from me. I love this from your mentors. Then like, you're ready to go. If your mentors and me saying, oh, it's good, then you're not ready. Like you want to get to the, I love it. It's great. Cool. And then until you get, I love it. It's great from us. Keep improving, keep asking us for feedback. We are here to help you guys. It's our job to help you. It's our job to improve. Make sure you guys are sharp as the samurai sword. Cool. Yep. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Talk to you all soon. Let's stay in touch. Let's be active on social media, not social media, on Slack.
Thank you, Oscar. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.